and welcome to our special episode of Entrepreneurship Uncovered, tackling HR and accounting in blue-collar businesses. I'm Gabby Luoma, CPA, CGMA, and CEO of Mod Ventures. I will be facilitating and joining in this discussion today with Clint Parry, who represents a local Tucson, Arizona HR consulting firm called Focus HR. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Mod Ventures. Mod Ventures is an outsourced accounting and advisory company for businesses across the United States. Our accounting team is fully virtual and has been since 2014. Our passion is to help entrepreneurs organize, create, and predict their financial futures. We believe that strong small businesses create financially stable communities. Thanks, Clint, so much for joining us today. Tell us all about yourself and Focus HR. I can't wait to talk about, HR with all these blue collar businesses and see what Focus HR does to help them.
Well, thank you, Gabby. It's great to be with you today. Thanks for inviting me on as a guest. A little bit about Focus HR and myself. My name's Clint Parry with Focus HR, and Focus HR is an HR outsourcing firm. We are locally owned and operated, actually celebrating our 20th year, our 20th anniversary this year, which we're very excited about. And essentially, we were founded on the premise that most HR in small businesses isn't a pretty picture. It's fragmented, it's reactive, it's piecemealed, it's certainly not strategic, and all of those things create risk in a small business. And in fact, really, if we boil it down, your employees, while we hope they're your greatest asset, unfortunately, they are also your greatest liability. Mm-hmm. So Focus HR really was designed to bring big HR to small business, to be able to reduce costs, to be able to reduce all the time wasted in handling all the administrative tasks of HR, and perhaps most importantly, to reduce and mitigate your employee-related liability. So we work with over 500 small businesses, for-profit and nonprofit organizations here in Arizona, mostly in Southern Arizona. And we have a fabulous team based right here in Tucson that handles everything for our clients. We love establishing very close relationships with our clients. They get to know us, we get to know them. They can come over to our office, we go to their office. It makes all the difference when you can just pick up the phone, have a phone conversation with somebody that lives and works right here in Tucson, and they don't have to call an 800 number, go through a whole menu selection, and just to try to get some help. So that's our service, and we love delivering HR and making HR dreams come true.
I love that. Well, and I think that it's so complementary to outsourced accounting and advisory services, which is what we do at Mod. And, when we started this conversation, it was really an interesting, it was an interesting conversation about what we try to pack into our office managers or our controller positions at the industry level. We really try to make that one size fits all solution in one person. And that's where outsourcing and getting that advisory service has really helped elevate a lot of our local businesses. They no longer have to rely on one person. And so, and today we're talking specifically about the trades. And so maybe you can give me a good example of, a client that you have come in and supported in this HR outsourced realm, and what types of things that you were able to really bring to the table.
So we actually work with a lot of blue collar companies here in Southern Arizona, a lot of the trades. You name the trade, and we've got clients in it. Whether it's plumbing, electrical, framing, stucco. I mean, there's so many different ones, plus a lot of the subcontractors, of course, general contractors and the like, and all the different trades that support the whole world of construction.
Yeah.
So it's typically our scenario, I think what we tend to notice is that these small trades, blue collar businesses start off and they grow. And of course, then they hire laborers, employees, etc.,
Right.
and will often employ maybe an office manager or maybe a bookkeeper of sorts on staff, and essentially dump everything onto them. They have to, handle a lot of all the administrative things in the office, handle all the books, bookkeeping, and keeping QuickBooks or whatever software package actually using up to date. And oh, by the way, you're now de facto HR manager too.
Right.
And so they have to handle payroll and employee benefits administration and workers' compensation and 401k administration if they have a 401k. And that, and not to mention, keeping the business, trying to keep the business compliant to, current employment laws out there. So it's a lot to put on one individual, certainly a lot of responsibility, a lot of financial influence, and a lot of, I would say, pressure and a lot of burden maybe put on somebody's shoulders.
Yeah. So, I think one of the biggest things, you're highlighting here is the lack of specialization, and how, being more specialized in these specific areas really provides a higher level of value. And when you're trying to, you expect one person to be a specialist in all these areas, there's opportunity for risk.
Of course.
And that's in any business. And I've seen this across the, not just in the trades, but also medical practices, nonprofits, small business in general, because you need people to wear lots of hats, but there's a point where the risk and the benefit really just isn't there anymore. So I love how you're really, focusing on that, the specialty of HR. Is just like I'd like to focus on the specialty of accounting. It's different, right?
It is different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into, I'm sure there's a lot goes into accounting and all of the rules and regs and processes for effective accounting. Likewise for human resources and all things people, and all things employees. There's a lot of aspects that go along with running effective payroll and running that accurately and effectively day in and day out, pay period in and pay period out. Certainly filing taxes, payroll taxes, and making sure that all of those things happen appropriately and timely, and issuing W-2s, all of those things to go along with payroll. Well, then you get into employee benefits, and that's even a much, sometimes can be very complicated kind of process, right? In terms of sourcing and handling, finding all your carriers, and then handling all the administrative side of things, and that all go with having health benefits for your employees. So we could go on and on. Workers' compensation, 401k. There's a depth of knowledge that goes along with each, and there are best practices that go along with each of those areas. Now add to that employment law. There are dozens of employment laws out there, and they keep changing and regularly. And so updates are happening all the time. And of course, new legislation is being passed. And so it's tough enough for us as HR experts who are practicing daily in the field and are continually trying to keep up with what is HR in this day and age, and employment laws and regulations, etc., and all these best practices. I can't imagine what it must be like to expect one individual in a business to try to keep up with all of that.
Yep,
that's a lot. So I think there is a lot of specialization in each of these areas, and each of our team members, or at least in the HR perspective, are credentialed, right? So even our payroll folks are credentialed, they're certified. There's quite a bit of education that they go through and training they go to make sure that they have what they need to be up to date and to be credible professionals in the profession.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that we like to bring up when we're working with clients is that, you do have one person that knows all of this information. And what happens if they win the lottery? We like to say win the lottery, not get hit by a bus, right?
Bye.
You want the best case scenario, right? What you win the lottery, what happens to all this knowledge should something happen? And so this is where we've seen also where outsourcing of accounting, and I would imagine it's the same with HR, where there are more people, and you have a team. Like, it's not just one person that knows this particular client, it's a team of people at your company that supports the client. And so there is no single point of failure. There's always a backup, which I think is super super important when you're talking about these specific tasks and requirements that are needed.
I think as a business owner, I think you bring up a good point, Gabby, in that as a business owner, ultimately one of your responsibilities and in running the business, owning the business, is to identify those points of failure, right? Or points of significant risk in your business, and to try to mitigate that risk in any way possible. Well, certainly when you've just decided to kind of compile a lot of responsibilities and job duties all on one sort of individual, that individual drives off your parking lot, gets Mack trucked, comes down with COVID or some other serious illness, there's some other serious family event, emergency, they travel across seas and get stuck. I mean, you can think of the number of scenarios that can happen, right? Well, guess what? Payroll can't wait. You got employees expecting to be paid. Or other things that are maybe deadline. There are time mandated deadlines for filing taxes, or for completing a workers' compensation audit, or for open enrollment. I mean, there's all these things in HR, at least, that have deadlines to them. And so that, to me, you as a business owner, being really thoughtful and mindful about that, if you can do anything to mitigate and remove those single points of failure, I think that's super important.
Yeah.
And we have, like, in our business, as an example, when it comes to payroll, we have a dozen payroll specialists. Each one of them can run any one of our clients' payroll. Well, if they were all taken out, guess what? We have supervisors and a manager, and ultimately our COO and our CEO, they can run a payroll, right? At the end of the day, you have to have like 6 layers of redundancy in place. Well, no, small businesses can't afford that, obviously, and really don't have that in place.
Right. Well, I think that's, the benefit of, again, having a partnership or relationship where, compliance is a high need. It's a big risk area, but, with a proper team behind you, you don't have to worry about missing deadlines and not fulfilling promises that you have made. And so I think it's super important to, definitely think about, the cross-training opportunities that you have by outsourcing, HR and accounting services. So,
totally agree.
Yeah. So another thing that I think was really interesting in kind of our discussions was, the potential conflict of interest of, one person having essentially full control over finances and HR. And, one of the things that we have dealt with over the years is, we'll get a random phone call and it'll be an owner who said, my employee was paying themselves and just randomly cutting checks, and there was no controls around this financial policy or procedure. And so there's definitely some opportunity for fraud when you're not properly segregating duties. And I think that this is a great opportunity to kind of highlight that, really what you're doing is protecting your company from even the potential of fraud happening.
Yeah, excellent point. In fact, we've seen it firsthand,
Yeah.
and I've got clear examples, or clients examples of that. I think there's two different points there that I wanted to touch on that you mentioned. One is conflict of interest, right? If somebody ultimately, there can be an inherent conflict of interest from somebody that has accounting or responsible for ultimately a fiduciary financial duty in the company to essentially keep costs in control, minimize costs, and increase profit. And at the same time, HR has a different sort of interest, right? Is to grow and retain and develop people. Well, people are in labor costs are one of your largest costs, if not the largest cost in your business.
Yeah.
So when push comes to shove, if an owner has expectations that the accounting responsibility, financial responsibility is to reduce costs and to find ways to reduce costs, and at the same time, one of those costs may be to reduce labor costs, and yet they have that HR responsibility. What gives? So I think that's an interesting insight there to just think about. The other that you brought up then really goes to risk and the risk of potential embezzlement, fraud, by having all this financial influence in one position. I had a client not too long ago. I received a very alarming email on a Sunday morning when she discovered that her right-hand person, confidant, good friend, that essentially was handling all of her office administration along with her bookkeeping, had embezzled about $40,000 from her. She found this out, unfortunately. The individual had set up PayPal accounts, was paying her own utilities, paying her car payments, and mortgage and other things through such accounts. And it was devastating. She trusted this individual, and not only did she feel devastated and hurt and completely just upset about this situation, but she felt very I want to say ashamed about it, not shamed, but
embarrassed.
Embarrassed. Like, how could this happen to me? How could I let this happen? I am the owner of the business. How could I just not see this coming? And so a lot of emotions, clearly. And thankfully she reached out because she wanted to know, I don't even know how to start. How do I handle this? There's obviously criminal activity here, but she's employed with me now. What do I do the steps I need to take to make sure I need to separate in a way that's not going to expose me to risk? Thankfully, she had a great conversation early Monday morning with our HR director that was able to give her some guidance on that. But we've seen that situation, and I've had many conversations with other business owners that, we had one of those. We had one of
those. So and it's heartbreaking because these are people that you really trust in your business. And really what you're doing, I think, by, adding this additional layer is just keeping everybody honest, and making sure that there's a second look at everything. And, not everybody's going to take advantage, but the ones that do, it's heartbreaking. And you go through as
it really hurts you, and it can really damage the business and significantly create a big setback financially for your business. And not to mention really just fracture trust. And that can lead to, now, do I trust any other employee in my business? I mean, there's sort of the ripple effect, right? The pebble in the pond effect can be significant. So I think that lends itself to the idea then of, and maybe outsourcing is a better way, to a safer way to make sure this doesn't happen to my business. And I don't have all my eggs in sort of one basket, where somebody that gets desperate, somebody gets on hard times,
Right.
decides to compromise their values or principles, and start slowly, and then ultimately, before they know it, there can be some serious
Right.
fraud or embezzlement going on.
Yeah, yeah. So, we kind of talked about, all the different, downsides of having one person in charge of, let's say, accounting and HR. And so, you know, we know what the solution is, or what we would propose the solution to be is then again, outsource, have fractional accountants, controllers, CFO advisors, as well as outsourced human resource providers and support, and really making the business case for it is, I mean, there's numerous business cases for it, and some of it we really kind of already covered. But you know when we're looking at all the ways that it can benefit a business, we really hit on risk mitigation, and covering all those bases, the compliance bases, the complexity of, being an expert and needing that expertise. Usually it's really, really difficult to find that in all in one person. But I think there's a few other, whys we would want to, as business owners, look at outsourcing of these different skill sets. What do you think are some of the other, opportunities that we may not come to mind right away?
Well, I think there are several.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, if you look at just at a baseline, what is the opportunity cost of somebody that has all of that responsibility? What are they not doing? And so if you either as a business owner are doing those things, what are you not doing because you are kind of pulled into the administrative minutia of handling accounting, bookkeeping, HR responsibilities, or one of your key staff members is handling all that? What are they not being able to do to essentially, to focus on generating revenue, to focus on client retention, loyalty, generating new clients, budgeting, analysis, forecasting, margin analysis, all those things that could add significant value to the business to help you grow revenue, to help you grow profit, to help you grow, keep and grow your clients, your customers. All those things, I think, are significant opportunities, and can get diluted if all of those with all those responsibilities, if all those they have to deal with all those. So I think those are one. I mean, I think a few others that come to mind in terms of what business owners can witness as advantages in terms of outsourcing. One immediately is just sort of this idea of automation, automating some things that are now manual and tasks. And it's not like I don't think most business owners want to have things run manually or inefficiently, but I think they just evolve like that. They start off in business and they set up processes, and hey, they just got to get stuff done. They're so busy trying to hustle business and keep business coming in that sometimes these manual tasks or ways of doing things just sort of emerge and stick. And nobody ever really takes a step back and say, are we doing this the right way? Is there a better way to do this? And so an outsourcing partner, the right partner, can bring in a fresh set of eyes and perspective and say, wow, you're doing this way, you're using manual time cards or using some other manual process in terms of payroll, benefits, or other HR administrative things, or accounting for that fact. So we can bring in technology, we can bring in best practices and better processes to certainly increase efficiency and automate some of the things that are manual now, instead of living in 5 different spreadsheets or you're tracking things. There's great cloud-based technology that can streamline all that. So automation to me is a big one.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think, when you're looking at the 3 top things that we really, our value proposition, we're talking about time savings, you're talking about best practices, and then you're talking about expertise. I think that's the 3-legged, table that we kind of bring to these engagements because we are experts in what we do. We're going to know the technology to use. We're going to know how to make it smoother. We're going to know how to get you the information that you need. And, nowadays when we're talking about accounting, and advisory type of work, you have clients who want to know KPI information and so key performance indicators and, what are my very specific employee cost and things like that. And I think that you guys have those tools too that can really support, um, you know, just fast information, or can build that information, that will be very fast. And it's not like, you know, then the financial person can use that data to build out new scenarios and, do cash flow forecasting and do some of the higher level reporting that a lot of clients are starting to look for as they become more educated in what is possible. And I think that the general world is moving more and more into that direction. So I love that
Yeah,
we
I think,
hit that.
go ahead. Yeah, I think we agree with that wholeheartedly. Ultimately, at the end of the day, a business owner needs good, reliable data to make informed
Yeah.
decisions, strategic decisions for their business.
Yeah.
So the right technology and tools can help with that. That can help deliver that real time in the right way that a business owner can use to read, to understand,
Yeah.
and be informed and
Yeah.
get the insights they need to then make those decisions. So our cloud-based tool, HR tool, essentially does that same thing, right? In terms of the kinds of reports and data they can pull. Another thing I was thinking about too, Gabby, is this idea of, consolidation. And so if simplification, many times the processes, whether they have an accounting, bookkeeping, HR, they're sort of fragmented, they're piecemeal, they're disparate processes, right? And they may have a number of different providers, vendors that they're using, different software platforms that they're using. And so that creates inefficiency, that creates risk. And the more processes, the more touch points there are, people touching things, and the more vendors and other providers you're having to deal with, right? That increases complexity and risk and inefficiency. So there's a real, I think, business case here to outsourcing, being able to consolidate and simplify all of those different mini, sort of smaller processes within the HR umbrella or the accounting umbrella, to have a one single source of accountability that can consolidate all of those aspects into one focal point, one source of accountability to reduce your risk, time that's spent, and costs.
Yeah. 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 No, I love it. I think because I'm just a big geek around information and data and things like that, I think these are the things that are going to be super important for, the future, but the future is now, right? We have to kind of be on board and start telling people about what types of things they can expect to see. And we kind of need to be the people sounding the alarm and saying, hey, there's more. And so I love that. And I love the point that you brought up and in investing in these areas and the opportunity cost of not doing so. And I think there's so many business owners that try to do it all. And that's where that opportunity, you're missing opportunities and the ability to scale because you're not having that expert come in and figure out the new systems and processes that need to be implemented because their company has grown. There's like,
Right.
it goes together. It's an investment in your future. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your life because
Yep.
there's only so much time. And
Yeah.
so, bringing in those experts can really help, like I said before, like just up level your leadership business acumen just about overnight, because you're being educated as the CEO of your company. You have an HR team, you have an accountant, you have people who are informing you of information instead of you having to organize and create and then try to predict that future. You have somebody there that's, kind of responsible for those specific areas. And I think that elevates you immediately when you start looking at it that way.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes along with the idea of leadership, right? Great leaders want to surround themselves with
Great
people that are
people.
better than themselves in different aspects, right? The same idea goes for a small business owner. Wouldn't you want to have a team of professionals that are surround you, that are great at what they do, exceptional at what they do, and can help inform you and educate you and give you best process, best practice, and a solid solution in each area of your business that ultimately can help your business grow. And right, so it is an investment, right? And ultimately, the more that you can I think outsource at least administrative functions in a way in your business, whether it be IT, accounting, HR, other maybe operational things, the more resources you free up, right? And I think that those resources then, internal resources can be used focused on growth, profitability, improving your business, and it frees up headspace too, right? And you think about the worry and the headspace that employees and all the responsibilities that they have, and you depend on them, right? And hope and pray they will do well, and that they will do exceptional work. Being able to have an outsourced partner and partners in these different areas, I think, can deliver a greater peace of mind and increased expectation. Also, when you do invest in a professional partner, I think that allows the business owner to expect more and demand more, because they know they can get more, because they're dealing with such a level professional team. And certainly, like your point to the scalability, right? If they're wanting to scale their business, one of the hardest things to do in this day and age is to find good employees. And so, that's the way you're going to scale your business. Technology can certainly help you scale, but why not look at outsourcing as a viable alternative to help you scale your business? Because they have the capacity. A good outsourcing partner has the capacity to flex, right? To expand when business is growing and to contract when business is not growing. But give you that very scalable, flexible model. I think that's a great viable alternative to take a serious look at.
Yeah. So this has been an amazing conversation. I love talking to other professionals that are, bringing specialized knowledge to the table. And so, Clint, this has been like really, I hope, eye-opening to business owners, just to see, what else is available. They don't have to pile on all of this, all these job responsibilities on one person, that they can really see HR as a viable option as far as outsourcing and getting that support, as well as accounting. So I thank you so much for, having this conversation with me today. And how can viewers get in touch with you?
So viewers can get in touch with me. So we're obviously very accessible. Our phone number is 520-721-6777. And you can certainly reach us at my personal email at clint@focushr.net. Our website's www.focushr.net. And very, very accessible. Love to hear from you if you have a question or a need around HR outsourcing. And if any of the things that we've talked about have resonated with you today, then I'd invite you to do two things. One is to download our guide. We've created a great guide to how to unlock growth through HR outsourcing. it is available on our website, and I'll give you a quick and easy link, www.focushr.net/guide. And you can go to that link and download the guide. It will give you a great overview of what HR outsourcing is, and includes a lot of the key advantages of HR outsourcing, and how it can really be beneficial to your business. So it'll give you a great overview, some real powerful insights there. So I invite you to do that. And then number two, to give you a little bit more, we're offering a complimentary HR audit to anyone that would like to receive that audit. And essentially what that is for your small business, we'll examine your current approach, your current state of HR, how you are handling things. We'll look at all things HR, both systems and structure, and then we will identify any potential gaps that may exist, and weaknesses in your current HR process, whether it's process or technology, strategy, et cetera. And then we'll make some recommendations for how you can find greater efficiencies, save more time, and certainly reduce your risk. We'll also identify any gaps that might exist from a compliance perspective and could be exposing your small business to unnecessary risk. So all that, and we'll provide in a summary report for you. So if you would like to take advantage of that HR audit, simply again, go to our website, www.focushr.net/audit. And you can request an audit right there. We'll receive that and we can reach out to you and talk to you about that. So thanks again, Gabby, for the opportunity. It's been great to have a chat with you on all things HR and accounting and the value proposition of outsourcing. And
great.
Hopefully we'll do this again.
Yeah, no, I love it. So thank you all so much for attending and hanging out with us for, the last probably half hour. Hope that you got some valuable insights. And if you need to get in touch with Mod Ventures, you can go to modventuresllc.com. And we do also offer a 30-minute consultation if you want to know a little bit more about what outsourcing of your accounting, your controllership, your virtual CFO type service might look like. We'd love to talk to you about that as well. And we want you to smash the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up so that we can, continue to work with the YouTube algorithm as we are trying to grow this YouTube channel and bring more value to our audience. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.